There was an empty space outside the city lord manor. 2 guards were digging holes and burying people. These humans are all stupid. They should take a look at our city lord's background. How dare they complain? They're really tired of living. Isn't that so? What else do they want? Do they still want Sea City to become a reality like Ping City? All of them are dreaming. They could not help but spit as they threw the corpses inside. These dead people were all humans. Before they entered the city lord manor, they were still alive. However, when they came out, they could only be carried out as they had become cold corpses. Just as the 2 of them were burying the corpses, they suddenly felt a chill. What the hell? Why is the weather cold again? The 2 of them rubbed their arms and were complaining when a cold-faced man stood behind them. This man was Li Yuanqing. Li Yuanqing stood behind the 2 of them with an unfriendly expression and slowly raised his hand. Before the 2 guards could feel or even react, they felt a warm hand wrap around their skulls. Then, the 2 of them rolled into the pit. City Lord, the number of humans has decreased drastically. Will Ping City have any objections? Hai Chongping sat leisurely with an incense burner hanging above his head. Wisps of green smoke kept rising from the incense burner and circling his body. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't stop these people from leaving. I've already done what I promised to Juju. The rest is none of my business. Hai Chongping was quite relaxed. Although he was very sincere when he told Hu Juju about it, he is no longer sincere now. That's right. But if these humans go back and complain, Hu Juju will probably. What's there to be afraid of? She has already promised me. Can she go back on her word now? Besides, she definitely doesn't want to really fall out with us. It won't be good for everyone. Hai Chongping seemed to be very confident in himself and was not afraid at all. However, just as he was saying this, 2 strong winds suddenly attacked from outside. Hai Chongping quickly raised his hand. He stretched out his hands, and the 2 corpses were torn apart like broken sacks. The entire house was instantly covered in blood. The flesh and blood were all hanging everywhere. It was very terrifying. After Hai Chongping calmed down, he looked at the 2 heads in front of him in horror. Weren't these 2 his guards? Who is it? Hai Chongping suddenly chased after him and came to the windowsill. He looked down and saw a row of demon corpses hanging on the city gate. These demons were all powerful people. They had even appeared at many demon meetings. However, they had all turned into corpses and were hanging here. Who did it?
Hai Chongping Edgerlim.
The people hanging on it were all experts of the demon race, all of them famous people. However, at this moment, their corpses were actually hung here, and it was even hung above his city lord manor. Hurry up and take them all down. What should we do? Hai Chongping called out anxiously, but at this moment, he turned around and saw a beautiful person standing behind him. The man-eating vine grinned at him. City Lord Hai, these are gifts from our master. Our master said that you promised City Lord Hu to make the races in Sea City equal. The smile on the man-eating vine's face was so terrifying. However, something seems to have happened recently. Our master saw that the City Lord was very busy, so he helped the City Lord punish them. What do you mean? Who is your master? These are all people from Sea City. How can you attack them? Hai Chongping was about to shout when an inexplicable, terrifying pressure suddenly pressed down on his heart. His voice became softer and softer. He looked around nervously, but he did not even see a figure. That person had not appeared at all, but he was already able to use his suppression to suppress him. Hai Chongping knew that the difference in strength between him and that person was worlds apart. He swallowed and hurriedly changed his expression. Miss, who is your master? I'm really grateful if you can help me. The man-eating vine nodded in satisfaction and said to him, Our master said that these people will hang here and not be allowed to move for half a month. Do you understand? Hai Chongping felt terrible. These were his brothers, his comrades in arms. They were hung on his city tower and would not be allowed to move for half a month. Wasn't this forcing him to take a side? What would the demons outside think when they saw this? They would treat him as a traitor and an enemy. In the future, no demon would dare to attack humans in Sea City. However, Hai Chongping had no choice. What could he do when facing such a powerful opponent? Great Immortal, don't worry. I will definitely protect this place according to your instructions. Good. I hope you mean what you say. I'll get going. As the man-eating vine spoke, she jumped onto the roof and jumped down in a flash. She seemed to have jumped away from the tall building. After she left, the inexplicable pressure disappeared. Hai Chongping sat on the ground as if he was exhausted and heaved a sigh of relief. City Lord, are you all right? Hurry up and give the order. From now on, no one is allowed to harm the human race in the city. Do you hear me? City Lord, hurry up and order them. City Lord Manor of Sea City, you have signed in successfully. Reward received. Reward 1. 100 Divine Origin Pills. Reward 2. Sea City Domain Fragment. Choose Reward 2. Domain Fragment has been delivered. Li Yuanqing happily watched as his domain expanded again. It was indeed a treasure land in Sea City. Ever since he came here, he had collected a lot of things, especially the last time he was in the Holy Cavern. He had obtained thousands of square kilometers of domain fragments at once. This was a very, very large area. This small piece paled in comparison to back then. Li Yuanqing had already bought enough things. Although the space was huge, it still looked a little cramped. Now that it had expanded more than twice, he could not stop thinking about it. He needed to find some more things to put in. The domain before him was becoming more and more like a real world. There were snakes, insects, rats, ants, and all kinds of ferocious beasts growing here. The plants inside were also becoming more and more complete, becoming more and more similar to the world he used to live in. Master, this place is really beautiful. The man-eating vine suddenly sighed. She had always lived here and did not feel anything, but now that there were suddenly some changes, it actually made her eyes light up. A fat carp that was hundreds of feet long suddenly turned around in the huge lake in the center of the domain. The huge waves that were raised surged to both sides, causing the domain to become lively. Li Yuanqing left in satisfaction. It seemed like he would have to wander around Sea City for a while longer. This place was huge, and there were many benefits to signing in. All of Li Yuanqing's actions caused a huge commotion in the entire Sea City. What? Even Imo Fengzhu is dead? Isn't that so? He's hanging there. The patriarchs of the few demon clans in Sea City have all died. What should we do? What should we do? We should hurry up and run. Sea City has already become like this. In my opinion, it will sooner or later become like Ping City and Rong City. If we stay here, we will die sooner or later. But we've lived here our entire lives, and our ancestors are all here. How can we run? Why aren't you running? You'll be the one hanging on the city tower tomorrow. I can't stay here anymore. For a moment, all the demons in Sea City were in danger. They did not know when they would face such an outcome. These seniors had died too tragically. Originally, these people were all figures who were powerful in Sea City. But now, they were hanging on the city tower like tattered sacks. Moreover, no one dared to go up and take them down. Hai Chongping had even specially sent guards to guard the side. Anyone who wanted to go up and put the corpse down would immediately be captured. It was very clear that Hai Chongping was the one who did this. Hai Chongping had hung the people here. Hai Chongping had already betrayed the demons. We should invite Patriarch Zhang. Patriarch Zhang will definitely have a way to get rid of the city lord and return Sea City to true peace. That's right. Patriarch Zhang, where is he at this time? They could no longer find Zhang Tianwen. The Zhang family could not find Zhang Tianwen either. Patriarch, he hasn't appeared for a few days. Perhaps he's in seclusion? Everyone who could stand up in Sea City had disappeared, leaving only this foreseeable future. After Li Yuanqing turned Sea City upside down, he strolled around leisurely. He basically searched the entire place. Anything interesting and useful here was brought into his domain. However, it did not take long for him to visit all the markets in Sea City. Even though the things here were treasures, with Li Yuanqing's huge wealth, he had almost bought them all. Although there were still many demons who wanted to attack him one last time, these small fries were easily dealt with by Li Yuanqing. Li Yuanqing had also made a few good friends. These were all demons who were born and raised here. They were well informed and were useful to him. What fish? It's hard to say. In any case, this fish is very delicious. I only obtained one by chance back then. I carefully tasted the meat, and it was very delicious. However, it's not easy to obtain it as it grew in a very dangerous place. Li Yuanqing was immediately interested. He felt that the situation was vaguely familiar. What does that fish look like? How should I put it? It wasn't big in size. It's only the length of an arm, but it's very fat. There are some fish bones, so just pay attention. Where was it born? Could you tell me? The shopkeeper looked at Li Yuanqing in confusion and warned, "Brother, I'll tell you the truth. That place is very dangerous. Ordinary people don't dare to go over. Why are you looking for trouble there? This is really important to me. I've always liked taking risks. Now that there's such a good opportunity, I naturally won't miss it. I hope you can fulfill my wish." Seeing that Li Yuanqing was so sincere, the boss could only tell the truth. It's in the sea river in the north. There are many fish growing there. There are many kinds of fish, but it's too dangerous. There are also many demon beasts living there. Although it was a little strange for a demon to say this, it was indeed reasonable. The biggest difference between demons and ordinary demon beasts in the wilderness was that they were born with an enlightened mind. However, those demons chose a huge body and gave up on the enhancement in intelligence. Therefore, most of them were very brave but simple-minded. Even they, the demon race, could not deal with these demon beasts. That was why the sea river was called a very dangerous place. If not for the sake of survival, no one would dare to go there. Most of them were outlaws. After Li Yuanqing asked carefully, he memorized the detailed address. The shopkeeper did not know what to say when he saw how excited Li Yuanqing was. "Brother, you've spent a lot of spirit stones on me. I see that you're a sentimental person, so I'll say a few more words to you. That place is really dangerous. If you're alone, I'm afraid it's dangerous. If you really can't do it, find a hunting team to follow you." A hunting team? Don't you know? Every once in a while, some people will form teams in Sea City and go to the sea river to hunt wantonly. They will obtain some materials and sell them. This is also why there are so many treasures in Sea City. It's because of this sea river. Li Yuanqing had no intention of teaming up with others. He felt that he could handle this danger. However, in order not to show it so obviously, he still asked very politely, "Then I really have to find out more." Li Yuanqing pretended to be stupid and was about to leave when he was stopped by the boss. "Brother, if you're interested, I can introduce you to one. Their leader is a 5th-stage spirit transformation realm expert. His strength is not bad." Li Yuanqing laughed and said, "He's quite strong, but I haven't thought of when to go yet. I'll definitely come back to find you when I've made up my mind." "Thank you. It's okay. We've already done so many business deals. I should give you this information." The shopkeeper suddenly leaned towards Li Yuanqing and said, "If someone from Ping City comes in the future, you have to help me testify. I'm very friendly to the human race." "It's a deal." A large river lay in front of Li Yuanqing. The river was 1,000 feet wide and its end could not be seen. Behind Li Yuanqing was a straw hut. An old man walked over with a teapot. "Little brother, why did you come here at such a young age?" The old man was the guide here. He had been born and raised by the riverbank all his life and knew the situation here quite well. Most of the people who came here would come here to inquire about the situation. Li Yuanqing had also come here on someone's recommendation. After briefly describing the shape of those grass carp, he had a rough location. "Sir, I wonder if there are many humans and demons coming and going from this river?" The old man replied, "In the past, there were some, but not many. Most of them were demons from Sea City. Some desperados came here to fish for some materials. Recently, there have suddenly been more of them. I heard that the humans from Rong City and Ping City have risen up. These things are really lively." The old man had always lived here, so he did not know much about the rise and fall of the few large cities outside. Most of them were told by people who passed by. Li Yuanqing took out 2 spirit stones and placed them in the old man's hand. The old man took the spirit stones and stuffed it into his pocket. He looked up at Li Yuanqing. This old man was a demon. His 2 greasy whiskers twisted very flexibly. His round eyes looked at Li Yuanqing. "Young master, do you insist on going?" The old man finally persuaded. "That place is very dangerous. Ordinary people can earn a lot just by finding some opportunities in these places. But you're alone. There's no need to go deep into the hinterlands of the sea river. If there's danger, there's no one to help you." Although this old man saw that Li Yuanqing was a human, he had no intention of underestimating him. Instead, he persuaded him repeatedly. He heard about the place that Li Yuanqing was going to go, and he knew that it was too dangerous. Even the teams that came to collect materials did not dare to run there. The place where the grass carp lived was 100 miles away from here. Moreover, those grass carp were not active on the shore. Generally speaking, one had to go a few hundred feet to find them. It was also because of this that although the fish were tender and easy to catch, no one had any interest in them. Li Yuanqing replied with a smile, "I'm going to try my luck. If I can catch some, I can sell them for a good price." The old man did not believe Li Yuanqing's words from the bottom of his heart. Although this fish tasted delicious, it was just an ordinary fish after all. Even if it was sold, it would not fetch a good price. On the other hand, Li Yuanqing was so generous that he casually gave 2 spirit stones. It was not that simple to rely on this thing to recover his capital. "Since you're so insistent, I can't say anything. However, that place is very dangerous. Be careful. Thank you for the reminder, old sir." After Li Yuanqing bade farewell to the old man, he headed south along the riverbank. There was a turning in the middle of the river. The upper half came from the east, and the lower half turned south. Because the climate in the lower half was warmer, the fish, prawns, and demon beasts gathered below were even more ferocious. The ordinary exploration team was north of the old man's hut. After capturing some fish to collect materials, they returned home and headed south. Li Yuanqing did not know if he was lucky or not. He happened to encounter such a team. There were more than 100 people in their entire team, and they were stationed by the riverbank. When Li Yuanqing arrived, he happened to pass by their gathering place and was stopped by their people. "Brother, this place is very dangerous. Why are you alone?" The person who came to talk to Li Yuanqing was a very calm man. This man had a very beautiful beard and a square face that made people feel very close to him. "I'm just here to try my luck and see if I can find some good things to exchange for some spirit stones." "Brother, you dare to come here alone? You're really bold." They were all shocked to hear Li Yuanqing say that. "That's right. This place is in a dangerous area. There are many amphibious demon beasts here. Sometimes, these demon beasts will come ashore to move around. Those little beasts are not ordinary. It will be very dangerous if they bump into you." They reminded him kindly. Li Yuanqing had seen many water demon beasts along the way. There were indeed some amphibians who wanted to cause trouble for him. However, they were all easily dealt with by him. These demon beasts died before they could ask for help. Li Yuanqing pretended to be stupid and replied, "It's fine. I'm just trying my luck here. If there's a chance, I'll attack. If not, forget it. It's best to be cautious. It's indeed very dangerous to be here alone." The leader suddenly invited, "Since we're fated to meet, why don't you come to our place for a drink first? We've prepared very delicious wine." Li Yuanqing happened to want to ask about some things along the way. Seeing that they were so powerful, they should have prepared a lot. "Then I'll accept it respectfully." In the expedition team's tent, the few of them chatted happily. It turned out that this expedition of 100 people was from Rong City. When they heard that Li Yuanqing was from Ping City, they were very enthusiastic and kept asking Li Yuanqing about Ping City. "I heard that there are many talented people in Ping City. There are many powerful humans, and even the legendary sword immortal is there. I really want to see them in my life." The captain of the expedition team was called Wang Tianxue. He was in his 60s and had a 4th-grade spirit transformation cultivation. He looked to be in his 30s. There were 2 deputy captains. One was called Ma Hun, and the other was called Zhu Yongla. Because this expedition was too big, there were 10 small teams below that formed a complete team. Everyone in the expedition team yearned for Ping City. In their eyes, Ping City was like the holy land of the human race. Wang Tianxue was even more envious when he talked about Ping City. When he mentioned the sword immortal, his eyes were filled with admiration. "I heard that the power of the sword immortal sword can subdue 1,000,000 people. I wonder if it's true." Ma Hun curiously went up to Li Yuanqing and filled his wine glass. Li Yuanqing replied with a smile, "A million?
No.
Although those demons are powerful, there are only tens of thousands of them. They're still very far from 1,000,000. "That's true." Ma Hun thought after he had asked the question. After thinking for a moment, he changed his words. I wonder if Brother Li has seen the sword immortal attack with your own eyes? Everyone stared at Li Yuanqing. I've had the honor of seeing that. Really? It's really as the rumors say. He can cover the world. Every move he makes will cause the sky to darken and lightning to flash. When they heard that Li Yuanqing had also seen the sword immortal with his own eyes, they were all excited and asked questions. Seeing that they were so curious, Li Yuanqing casually told them some things. However, just a few words made them yearn for it. I heard that the sword immortal is a deterrent to the world. If I can have the chance to see it with my own eyes, my life will not be in vain. Wang Tianshui sighed and leaned against the couch, thinking alone. They listened to Li Yuanqing tell them about the deeds of the sword immortal and were satisfied. Li Yuanqing took the opportunity to ask indirectly, Captain Wang, you said that you came here to capture vicious beasts, but isn't it a little too ostentatious to do so just to capture some vicious beasts? Wang Tianshui was chatting happily with Li Yuanqing, so he said without hiding anything, Brother Li, you might not know, but the vicious beasts in the middle of the river are all abnormally ferocious and powerful. If you don't bring more people, you will easily be implicated. There are many seniors who have died here. It's better to be careful, but there are so many of you. Aren't you afraid of disturbing these demon beasts? The others laughed when they heard Li Yuanqing's words. Zhu Yongla said happily, Brother Li, I can tell that you're a layman. All the reasonable vicious beasts are very domineering because of their environmental advantage. They're not afraid of us gathering here. Instead, the more people there are, the more they want to come over and eat some human flesh. There's such a thing. Li Yuanqing was glad. No wonder he felt that most of the demon beasts were lazy and not aggressive. It turned out that these things like to gather together. Speaking of which, it's indeed not appropriate for you to come here alone, brother. Wang Tianshui and Li Yuanqing hit it off at first sight and became concerned. Brother Li, you might not understand, but this place is really more terrifying than the rumors say. If there's no team, you should be careful or return as soon as possible. This place is not too peaceful. Thank you for your reminder. I will definitely be careful. Wang Tianshui originally thought that it would be best if he could persuade Li Yuanqing to return since he was still young. However, Li Yuanqing acted as if he did not hear him and he could only give up. Brother Li, have you heard of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion? Li Yuanqing was stunned by Ma Hun's question. He had heard of the Treasure Pavilion before, but what was the Myriad Treasure Pavilion? Captain Ma, are you talking about the Treasure Pavilion? Ma Hun slapped his head. Yes. When the city lord was in Ping City, that shop was called the Treasure Pavilion. Of course I know. Our shop is next to the Treasure Pavilion. We're considered neighbors. What a coincidence. Everyone's eyes widened in excitement. Wang Tianshui looked at Li Yuanqing in surprise. I didn't expect Brother Li to have such a relationship with the city lord. Oh my God, what a coincidence. This must be the city lord's decree for you to meet us. This must be the city lord's decree. I was wondering why it was such a coincidence today. I was just about to make a move when I bumped into Brother Li. I think Brother Li must be the lucky star sent by the city lord. The few of them looked very excited. Wang Tianshui even invited Li Yuanqing very formally. I wonder if Brother Li is willing to follow us to capture them. We have been watching this group of demon beasts for half a month. Today is the day to reel in the net. It would naturally be best if you could come with us. Li Yuanqing took this opportunity to test the situation inside and agreed. That's great. When I came out this time, I said that the city lord would definitely protect us. It seems like it's true today. Li Yuanqing felt strange as they spoke. Yi Qilua had already become a godlike existence in Rong City. Everything they did was like Yi Qilua's decree. Li Yuanqing did not expect Yi Qilua to have such a great appeal in Rong City that so many humans would submit to her sincerely. Now, I'm really happy to see Brother Li today. Someone, bring up the best wine. Big brother, you can't. Wang Tianshui was excited and wanted to drink 2 more rounds, but he was stopped by his brother. Ma Hun smiled at him and said, Big brother, why did you forget so quickly? Zhu Yongla also advised, when evening comes, everyone will be waiting for you to lead the way into the river. If you drink too much now, it will delay things. Look at my memory. The moment I heard that Brother Li has such a relationship with the city lord, I couldn't control myself. Wang Tianxue said to Li Yuanqing apologetically, Brother Li, I'm sorry. I'm afraid we won't be able to drink to our heart's content today. When this matter is over, we brothers will definitely get drunk. It's a deal. Wang Tianxue was a straightforward person. When he was happy, he wanted to dance with Li Yuanqing. In their opinion, Yi Qilua was not only the high and mighty holy maiden of the human race, but also the saint who had saved the entire human race in Rong City. Therefore, the worship of Yi Qilua was very common in Rong City. Most cultivators in Rong City regarded Yi Qilua as a god. Li Yuanqing had long seen that Yi Qilua was an extraordinary person. Her subordinates knew everything. They were definitely not ordinary people. Back in Ping City, Yi Qilua had already stood out. After arriving at Rong City, there were no more restrictions. After a series of changes, Rong City was completely humanized from the city controlled by the demons. That was why many exploration teams like them were born. Originally, Wang Tianxue and the others' operation was a secret, and they usually wouldn't tell outsiders easily. However, Li Yuanqing had already joined the gang, so they didn't have any scruples. According to them, the one they had been staring at for half a month was a tiger-headed shark. This tiger-headed shark was abnormally ferocious and powerful. Its skin was even thicker, and its entire body could be said to be a treasure. Not only could its beast skin be used to make sturdy armor, but its inner core and the fish meat in its body also contained rich spiritual energy and could be sold for a good price. Although this tiger-headed shark was only at the 4th grade spirit transformation realm, its strength was extraordinary. An ordinary 4th grade spirit transformation human cultivator was not enough to capture them. In addition, it had a natural advantage in the water, which was why they needed so many people. It took them half a month to set up the trap. They were about to make their move. Li Yuanqing did not wait long before they began their busy preparations. The operation was officially about to begin. Wang Tianxue was busy preparing for the tiger-headed shark, so he specially arranged for Zhu Yongle to accompany Li Yuanqing. Zhu Yongle was a very young captain. Although he was young, he was abnormally calm and had a lot of prestige in this team. Along the way, he told Li Yuanqing a lot of the legends here. There were many legends about Yi Qilua in Rong City. After all, this godlike figure had saved their city. They also loved Yi Qilua very much. Brother Li, you might not know this, but that was the most dangerous time in Rong City. These demons were naturally anxious when they saw Ping City being unified. Zhu Yongle accompanied Li Yuanqing to the back of the team and said with emotion, "Those demons have already planned to eliminate everyone in Ping City, and there will be no more danger." Li Yuanqing was very cooperative and listened to his stories. But who knew that at this moment, someone would descend from the sky and stop the demons from destroying the human race? This person is City Lord Yi. As Zhu Yongle spoke, he looked in the direction of Rong City proudly. City Lord Yi didn't say much. She gathered all the humans present at that time. There were only more than 1,000 experts gathered by the platform beside the City Lord. There's a huge difference in strength. At that time, there were hundreds of thousands of demons, but there were only a few thousand humans. However, City Lord Yi had a way. She somehow summoned a large number of followers from the wilderness. Not only did she kill many experts of the demons, but she also suppressed all of them when the demons counterattacked. That's why Rong City is so prosperous now. Zhu Yongle's speech was filled with emotions. His admiration for Yi Qilua could not be concealed. Li Yuanqing was also impressed when he heard that. However, when he thought about how Yi Qilua was so respectful to Hu Juju, he felt a little strange. The city lord who Zhu Yongle admired so much was also the same person who gave advice to Hu Juju respectfully back then. Who knew what Zhu Yongle would think if he knew about this? In the blink of an eye, the city lord took out the fish stopper of that old dumpling. Zhu Yongle danced as he recounted the city lord's arena match. However, there seemed to be a lot of exaggeration. As the two of them were chatting, someone suddenly ran over from the front. This person stopped in front of Zhu Yongle. Captain Wang is asking you to go over. He said that he wants to bring young Master Li along. The job that Wang Tianxue had arranged for Li Yuanqing was to follow behind the team and observe. It was fine as long as he could ensure his own safety. It was unknown why he called Li Yuanqing up. "Brother Li, let's go over and take a look. Big brothers should have something to say." Li Yuanqing followed Zhu Yongle forward. Wherever he passed, everyone looked at Li Yuanqing with respect. They all knew that Li Yuanqing had interacted with Yiqilua, so when they looked at Li Yuanqing now, they felt as close as relatives of Yiqilua. Wang Tianxue had already led the crowd to the riverbank. In front of him was the surging river. This and the endless river were constantly surging with huge waves. The waves churned as if they were hiding the demons hidden inside. Wang Tianxue stood by the riverbank, his clothes fluttering in the wind. Wang Tianxue greeted them warmly. "Brother Li, come and take a look." Wang Tianxue pointed at the river in front of him and introduced. The river water in this big river is usually the calmest at noon. Also, midnight is the calmest time. Because most of the powerful demon beasts were hiding under the riverbed at that time, the river water was very stable and there was less danger. Li Yuanqing nodded slightly as he listened to Wang Tianxue's introduction. There were countless powerful demon beasts hidden in the turbulent river. These demon beasts were energetic and were also observing the humans on the shore for an opportunity to attack. Wang Tianxue smiled and said, "Don't underestimate them. These demon beasts are very smart. They are currently under the river and observing carefully. If they saw that we were easy to provoke, many of them would have pounced on us long ago. It's indeed extremely dangerous." Li Yuanqing nodded slightly. This place was indeed not a place for ordinary people. No wonder it was so difficult for him to get those things. "Brother Li, I didn't lie to you, right?" "Captain Wang, you must be joking. However, in this situation, I wonder where your target is." Li Yuanqing had also taken a look just now. Although it was dangerous down here, most of the people here were not very strong. They were barely in the spirit transformation realm. Although there were many of them, it was not worth it for them to mobilize so many people. "Brother Li, you indeed have good eyesight." The more Wang Tianxue looked at Li Yuanqing, the more he liked him. He was not stingy with his praise. Although there are many good things on the shore of this river, if we attack them, it will easily disturb the big guys inside. Let's capture the guys inside first and fish some more from here later. We'll fish as much as we can. As Wang Tianxue spoke, his subordinates had already started eating. A small team suddenly ran forward in an orderly manner. Soon, they arrived at the riverbank. When they reached the shore of the river, they released a huge piece of wood from their storage bags. The wood had already been molded. One or two pieces of wood could not be seen, but after a while, this form slowly appeared. These pieces of wood were put together to form a very gorgeous ship. This huge ship was huge and very slender, like a huge dragon boat. After they built a dragon boat, they turned to the other side and built another one. Not long after, 2 dragon boats were completed, and they went into the water neatly. The moment the 2 dragon boats entered the water, a very dense light rose from them. This dense light was like a protective shell. All the demons who came into contact with it hurriedly avoided it. Seeing that everything was almost ready, Wang Tianxue finally said to Li Yuanqing, "Brother Li, follow me later. Don't walk around. I will ensure your safety." "I'm really sorry to trouble you, Captain Wang. It's fine. We're all brothers. Why are you being so polite with me?" As Wang Tianxue spoke, his brothers had already begun to board the ship one by one. There were grooves on the dragon boat that corresponded to people. Li Yuanqing followed Wang Tianxue onto the boat and sat at the waist of the boat. There was a raised platform there. Wang Tianxue stood on it, while Li Yuanqing sat below. He did not row with all his might like the others. This dragon boat originally had a protective membrane. After everyone went up, the protective light shield above became even more dazzling, making people not dare to approach. This light shield absorbed the spiritual energy of everyone on the ship and drove like lightning. 2 pale yellow lightning bolts on the wide river sped towards the center of the river. The fish at the side dodged one after another. After they passed, those demon beasts revealed ferocious faces and stuck out their heads to roar in dissatisfaction. The dragon boat ran very fast. Not long after, it slowly slowed down. Li Yuanqing knew that they were approaching their target. Everyone on the ship slowed down, and the light shield emitted slowly dimmed. "Brother Li, I've already sensed the location of the target. It might be dangerous later. You must protect yourself and not be injured. Don't worry, Captain Wang. As Wang Tianshui spoke, the dragon boat on the left suddenly shook violently. The river water suddenly distorted, causing the dragon boat to shake unsteadily. Be careful. Just as Wang Tianshui shouted, the dragon boat under his feet began to sway. The two dragon boats swayed as they turned in the same direction, forming a huge vortex under their feet. The moment this vortex appeared, Wang Tianshui had already ordered everyone to stabilize the dragon boat with all their might. The dragon boat emitted a strong light. The vortex below kept spinning, and a shadow appeared in the originally dark place. As the shadow continued to enlarge, a huge head hundreds of feet wide rushed out of the water and bit towards Li Yuanqing's boat. This scene was extremely terrifying. In front of the demon beast's mouth, the dragon boat was as small as a toy. However, Wang Tianshui did not panic at all. With a command, pillars of light suddenly appeared around the water area. These pillars of light soared into the sky and turned into a cage that pierced through the world. The moment such a powerful cage appeared, it immediately caused the demon beast to let out a sad cry. The tiger-headed shark suddenly raised its head and spat out the dragon boat in its mouth, drilling straight down. Brothers, he has already fallen into a trap. We'll get him soon if we work harder. Wang Tianshui was overjoyed. Today's capture was considered smooth. Everything was going according to plan. However, he had just been happy for a while when his expression suddenly changed. After the churning river water stopped, two huge shadows could be vaguely seen. Wang Tianshui cursed in his heart, but it was too late. The huge array they had prepared suddenly trembled violently as if something heavy had hit it. The pillars of light on the left and right kept trembling, as if they were already on the verge of exploding. Big brother, it's bad. There's not one tiger-headed shark down there, but two. Everyone was shocked. The array formation they had set up was arranged according to the strength of a tiger-headed shark. Everything was going just nice, and there was even some surplus. However, if there were two of them, their array formation would not be able to deal with them at all. Wang Tianshui gritted his teeth. Although success was right in front of him, what was the outcome of the risk? Reason told him that he had to retreat now. Leave quickly. Leave while the array is still active. Wang Tianshui shouted, and all his brothers turned around and fled. However, the moment they escaped from the array, a huge spiritual energy fluctuation swept through the entire world, raising the river water thousands of feet high. Howl! A deafening roar resounded across the wide river. Wang Tianshui and the others could not care less now. They ran forward without looking back. Their faces were covered in sweat, but they ignored the spiritual energy in their bodies and released it towards the dragon boat. Li Yuanqing looked at the members of the expedition team beside him. All of them had despair on their faces. Although their limbs could still function normally, their muscles were trembling continuously. Huge fear had already devoured them. Even though everyone was already rowing with all their might, the dragon boat that flew out like a shuttle was nothing compared to the extremely fast tiger-headed shark. Two huge shadows slowly passed under the dragon boat. The two shadows flew out like nightmares. Immediately after, a crack seemed to appear in the world in front of them, revealing two very wide abysses that blocked the two dragon boats. Wang Tianshui tried his best to slow down the dragon boat and stopped in front of the mouths of the two tiger-headed sharks. However, the tiger-headed shark closed its mouth firmly. It turned out that this abyss-like black hole had already enveloped the entire sky. Wang Tianshui looked sadly at the huge jaw that was slowly descending from the sky. He had never expected that his operation today would be so miserably defeated. The tiger-headed shark that they had taken a fancy to was a male tiger-headed shark. Its strength was only at the 4th grade spirit transformation realm. That was why they had the guts to attack. However, he did not expect that this male tiger-headed shark would have a female tiger-headed shark by its side. This female tiger-headed shark was much stronger and was almost at the beginning of the 6th grade spirit transformation realm. They could not resist such strength. These two mouths enveloped all the light and covered the sky. Just as everything was about to fall into darkness, an incomparably sharp sword light appeared out of thin air. The sword intent spread throughout the world. That aura was like the descent of a great lord. One strike. It split open the darkness for a long time and emitted light. One strike. Blood splattered on everyone's heads. The bodies of the two tiger-headed sharks were split into two and fell heavily into the river. The two tiger-headed sharks that were alive just now had already turned into 4 pieces of flesh that floated in the water. What happened before them was unbelievable. What happened? Who saved us? What happened just now? Wasn't I already dead? They exclaimed. They were looking for their savior, looking for that godlike figure. Wang Tianshui's face was filled with shock as he looked in disbelief at Li Yuanqing, who was slowly descending from the sky. He never expected that the kid he casually picked up would instantly kill 2 powerful tiger-headed sharks. There were dangers everywhere on the river. Wang Tianshui ordered his subordinates to urgently deal with the corpses of the 2 tiger-headed sharks. They skillfully separated the materials on the tiger-headed shark's body, skinned it, and took out their cores. The bone rack was also intact. The huge pieces of meat were divided neatly and put into the storage bag piece by piece. In a short while, the 4 mounds of bodies were cleaned up. Retreat. Following Wang Tianshui's order, the 2 dragon boats quickly rowed towards the riverbank. Wang Tianshui looked at the blood spreading behind him with lingering fear. If not for Li Yuanqing's help just now, they would have already died on the 2 boats. They would have long died in the stomachs of the sharks and would have become feces tomorrow. Fortunately, he got to know this little brother at that time. However, he did not expect this little brother to be so powerful. It was terrifying. They could only be glad that they did not have any ill intentions towards Li Yuanqing at that time. There were many fights in the wilderness. At that time, they saw that Li Yuanqing was alone and did not look very rich, so they did not have any ill intentions. Now that he thought about it, he was extremely glad. There were many sea demons gathered in the river. These demons surrounded the endless blood. After swimming around a few times, they could not find any flesh. Wang Tianshui's men had already cleaned up the meat. In the end, they could only scatter aimlessly. The members of the expedition team paddled towards the riverbank with all their might. Wang Tianshui observed for a while. After the threat at the side decreased, he came to Li Yuanqing's side. "Young master, thank you so much this time. It's fine. We're all on the same ship. It's only right to help when we're in danger." Wang Tianshui was very grateful. He nodded at Li Yuanqing and took out an inner core with each hand. His heart was dripping with blood, but he knew very well that without Li Yuanqing, all of them would have died here. "Young master, I can't express my gratitude this time." Wang Tianshui handed the 2 inner cores to Li Yuanqing. "This is what you deserve. As for the materials, just tell me if you need anything. We'll help you pack them all up. At that time, you can directly take them to trade and save trouble. By the way, young master, please leave an address. We will definitely visit you personally in the future." Li Yuanqing did not care much about these things. Although this demon beast's inner core had sufficient spiritual energy, it was dispensable to him. However, if he did not accept it, it would seem like he was looking down on them. He reached out and picked up the smaller one. "I appreciate Captain Wang's kindness, but you've been eyeing this tiger-headed shark for a long time. I can't let you make a wasted trip. I'll accept one, and you can keep the rest. There's no need to thank me." "How can that do?" "Young master, you were the one who killed these 2 tiger-headed sharks. Logically speaking, they should be yours. I will exchange those things for equivalent spirit stones to trade with you." Although Wang Tianshui said that he was generous, his heart was bleeding. The cost of this expedition of more than 100 people was not small. They were almost wiped out this time and had to give out so many spirit stones. They had suffered a huge loss this time. However, he was lucky enough to survive. He was lucky enough not to be left behind. Li Yuanqing stretched out his hand and stopped Wang Tianshui from continuing. "Captain Wang, we're all humans. We have to take care of each other when we're outside. If I encounter any danger in the future, please save me, Captain Wang." Li Yuanqing easily resolved Wang Tianshui's kindness. Wang Tianshui nodded heavily and looked at Li Yuanqing gratefully. Originally, if he were to give out everything to him, he would really suffer a loss. Although Li Yuanqing was young, he was really good at doing things. "Young master, I will never forget your kindness." Wang Tianxue heaved a sigh of relief and looked at Li Yuanqing apologetically. "It's just that you came here to find the grass carp that you mentioned. I feel really guilty that I didn't help you find it." Just now, Wang Tianxue had specially sent a few people to search everywhere. However, in the face of the greatest danger, he could not find any traces of grass carp after searching for a long time. When these grass carp arrived here, their habits changed. They like to run around in groups. If it was in the previous world, he would be able to catch a pile of grass carp with a fishing rod. Li Yuanqing had a slight headache. Grass carp were not as easy to obtain as he had imagined. However, in order to make the creatures in his domain richer, he endured it. "It's fine. I'll find it myself." Although we didn't find any traces of grass carp or fish, my men still found some of their activities. According to our guess, they might have gone downstream. "Young master, after you go ashore, why don't you go downstream to search?" "Thank you for your guidance, Captain Wang." As the two of them chatted, the dragon boat rushed to the shore at an extremely fast speed. Everyone jumped onto the shore and used their spiritual energy to melt the river water on their bodies. This thrilling journey would definitely become the most unforgettable memory in many of their hearts. This human cultivator from Ping City had already become a hero in their eyes. This method is actually like the legendary Sword Immortal. The people who came out of Ping City are actually so extraordinary. It seems that they have really comprehended the Sword Tao of the Sword Immortal. In the past, everyone said that Ping City was the holy land of sword cultivators. I didn't believe it, but when I saw it today, I knew that I must go to Ping City again in the future. The human cultivators from Rong City had just obtained their freedom. Now that they saw the rumored people of Ping City, they were extremely excited. The strength that Li Yuanqing had displayed shocked them even more. They thought that everyone in Ping City had such powerful martial arts. The expedition team gathered again after a simple rest. Wang Tianxue was going to lead them to other places. It took a lot of effort to operate an expedition team with more than 100 people. They could not stop for a moment. Although they had just experienced such a cruel danger, they still had to rush to the next location as soon as possible after a simple rest. Every moment they stopped would cost them a huge sum of money. Their next destination was downstream, but it was a little further from here, and they had to travel all the way. In order to find traces of the grass carp, Li Yuanqing might have to slowly search along the riverbank. Therefore, Li Yuanqing could not follow the expedition team. Although Wang Tianxue repeatedly asked him to stay and expressed that he was willing to send a team to search along the way, Li Yuanqing still chose to say goodbye to them. "Young master, are you really not going to leave an address?" "Captain Wang, don't worry. Let's meet again if fate allows it. I believe in the Sword Immortal's decree." When Li Yuanqing heard the words of the exploration team members, he also pretended to be a loyal believer of the Sword Immortal. "I'll leave first." "Young master, be careful." The expedition team left. Although it was a huge commotion, their speed was extremely fast. In a short while, they disappeared into the horizon. However, in their team, there were still stories about the Sword Immortal. The legend of Ping City and the Sword Immortal had been brewing in their hearts. After Li Yuanqing bade farewell to the expedition team, he walked down the riverbank. Although this river was extremely dangerous, it also contained many opportunities. He did not find any traces of grass carp on the way, but Li Yuanqing discovered another fish that only existed in the previous world. This large carp was very fat. Its back was yellow, and its tail was red. Its head was very small, and its flesh was very tough. It was more than 3 feet tall when it jumped out of the water. Li Yuanqing felt homesick. He wondered how Zhaoyang was doing in the Northern Kingdom. This time, he had gained a lot. He took the opportunity to collect a group of big carps and place them in his domain. The wide lake in the middle immediately became lively. After collecting the big carp, Li Yuanqing continued down the riverbank. However, his path was blocked by a wide swamp. This swamp was originally a low-lying plain. When the river occasionally overflowed, the river water would pour out and drown the plain below, forming this very wide swamp. This swamp contained a very complicated aura. There were many demon beasts hiding inside. If any cultivators accidentally passed by, they might be attacked. The demon beasts in the swamp were not precious or valuable. Li Yuanqing was not interested in them, so he chose a more stable path. Just as Li Yuanqing stepped into the swamp, a voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Sign in successful in the wilderness swamp. Reward received. Reward 1. Swamp domain fragment. Reward 2. Traction technique. Li Yuanqing was about to choose the domain fragment when he was attracted by this magical traction technique. Speaking of which, he had obtained a lot of domain fragments during this period of time. He was not too interested in the domain fragments of the swamp. But what kind of technique was this traction technique? I'll choose the traction technique. Reward issued successfully. Receive traction technique. Li Yuanqing floated above the swamp and closed his eyes to quietly sense the profundity of the traction technique. As its name implied, this traction technique had a very powerful traction ability. At a deeper level, he could toy with opponents weaker than him. This was a good thing. Li Yuanqing could not wait to leave the swamp. He found a hidden place in the forest and began to comprehend it. The traction technique was powerful, but it was not difficult to cultivate. Li Yuanqing reached the second level in just half a day. He opened his eyes and emitted an energy wave that caused the leaves beside him to rustle. A palm gently stretched out towards the tree in front of him. The branches of the tree slowly began to twist, as if they had a life of their own. The tree suddenly seemed to have a life of its own. However, at this moment, it was suddenly uprooted and thrown aside. Li Yuanqing looked at the fallen tree in satisfaction. Its strength is indeed not small. At this moment, he suddenly felt a huge energy fluctuation coming from the downstream of the river. The two energies below kept colliding and erupting with powerful energy fluctuations. Li Yuanqing quickly arrived at the scene of the incident and looked at the center of the river. It turned out that not far from the riverbank, the expedition team was entangled with a very huge, vicious beast, a crocodile. This crocodile was huge and thousands of feet long. Every move it made caused huge waves. The huge array kept shooting huge amounts of energy at the crocodile. However, the crocodile's skin was thick and it did not suffer any visible damage. Wang Tianxue stood at the bow of the ship and kept waving the main flag in his hand. His forehead was covered in sweat. It was unknown if his clothes were wet from the river or drenched in sweat, but water kept dripping down. Everyone tried their best, but they were unable to subdue the vicious beast in a short period of time. Moreover, the more it churned, the more powerful beings it attracted. Just as they were at their wits' end, the huge crocodile suddenly floated in the air, and the huge waves that were churning gradually calmed down. The crocodile roared at the sky, but it was useless. It could only let its body be pulled continuously. Everyone in the expedition team watched the scene in front of them with their mouths agape. They did not know what was happening until the crocodile's huge body was pulled up the riverbank. Only then did they see a small human standing on the riverbank. It was Li Yuanqing again. It's actually that sword immortal successor again. The sword immortal successor is here again. Sword immortal. The crocodile was already exhausted and was dragged up the riverbank by Li Yuanqing. Wang Tianxue led everyone down from the ship. After the crocodile went ashore, it was already controlled by Li Yuanqing and could not resist at all. Soon, it was slaughtered by Wang Tianxue and his subordinates. The members of the expedition team had been talking about Li Yuanqing and the sword immortal of Ping City. They did not expect to meet Li Yuanqing again after only half a day. Moreover, Li Yuanqing had saved them again. This sword immortal was really their savior. The humans of Ping City are actually so powerful. I must go to Ping City in the future. Brother, count me in. I want to go too. Wang Tianxue had never expected that Li Yuanqing would save them when he was in danger. Young master, I've really troubled you. I don't know how to thank you for saving me every time. Captain Wang, it was nothing. There's no need to thank me. I owe you 2 lives. My life is yours. After subduing the crocodile, the expedition team basically used up all the equipment they had brought. Fortunately, they had gained a lot. He had already planned to return to the city. He did not think about anything else because he no longer had any other targets and had used up all his things this time. Young master, no matter what, you have to tell me your address this time. I, Wang Tianxue, will definitely visit you personally after I return and make arrangements. This time, Wang Tianxue refused to let Li Yuanqing leave just like that. Li Yuanqing had no choice but to tell Wang Tianxue the address of his small shop. It was very easy to find it beside the treasure pavilion. Wang Tianxue was very touched and promised to be Li Yuanqing's slave. Li Yuanqing did not know whether to laugh or cry. The members of the expedition team reluctantly bade farewell to Li Yuanqing. Li Yuanqing set off alone. After the expedition team returned to Rong City, they brought back everything they had seen in the wilderness. They were even more generous with their praises about the legendary figure, who was from Ping City. They met and described it wantonly. They simply made Li Yuanqing sound like a living Buddha. They said that he could descend from the sky and save them every time they were in danger. Such wild publicity caused a frenzy in Rong City. They had only heard of Ping City in the past and knew that Ping City was the first city to be occupied by humans. However, not many people had really seen Ping City. It was really tempting for them since they heard that anyone from their Ping City had such powerful strength. Many people secretly swore that they would go to Ping City to pay their respects to the legendary Sword Immortal. These expedition team members who had survived the disaster began to arrange their schedules, planning to go to Ping City to pay their respects to the Sword Immortal's ruins. Perhaps they could also sense the Sword Immortal's ruins and seek a breakthrough, obtaining unparalleled power. In an instant, the name of Ping City spread throughout Rong City. All the human cultivators in Rong City were filled with yearning for Ping City. They simply treated Ping City as the holy land of the human race. After Yi Qilua controlled Rong City, she established a new order. The demons were only worthy of living in the outer city after they completely fell. The humans had divided the inner city into many markets. Moreover, with the humans attracted from the wilderness, the entire Rong City was becoming more and more prosperous. Its growth was even comparable to Ping City back then. The main reason was that ever since Ping City accommodated human cultivators, all the humans in the wilderness had become active. Now that they heard this news, many people rushed in. As the holy maiden of the human race, she was supported by everyone. The news brought back by these expeditions naturally reached her ears. "Miss, what do you think of this matter?" Yi Qilua leaned against the luxurious recliner and pondered silently. She was different from the others in Rong City. She came from Ping City and knew very well how strong Ping City was. It was not as ridiculous as they said, where a single sword strike was enough to split apart two powerful tiger-headed sharks. Unless that person attacked, they would definitely not be able to achieve such power. In Ping City, not anyone could have the strength of a sword immortal. Does that mean it's that person? According to their description, this person is very young and has good strength. I think he looks a little similar to Li Yuanqing, who often comes to exchange treasures. Yi Qilua nodded slightly. In the entire Ping City, the only person she could think of was Li Yuanqing. Li Yuanqing's strength was unfathomable. Although Yi Qilua had never seen the Sword Immortal with her own eyes, she did not doubt that Li Yuanqing's strength could achieve the effect of a Sword Immortal. It was not surprising that Li Yuanqing could even control a person like Hu Jujiu. However, why did Li Yuanqing run there alone? Could it be because of those treasures? Yi Qilua could not figure it out. There were indeed many good things hidden in the river in the wilderness, but it was also abnormally dangerous. No matter how strong a person was, there was a risk of failure if they went alone. "Miss, I think that the brothers below are all looking forward to Ping City now. It's a good opportunity for us. Why don't we take this opportunity to hold a social gathering and establish a communication channel between our two cities? It'll also be convenient for us to communicate more actively in the future." Yi Qilua was very satisfied with this opinion. City Lord Hu Jujiu and I are old acquaintances. Now that Rong City is stable, we indeed need a stable partner like Ping City. This is indeed a very good opportunity. I'll write a letter to City Lord Hu Jujiu. Send someone to deliver it. This is really worth celebrating. "Miss, you're still worried that the demons in the wilderness will counterattack. If our two cities establish a stronger relationship, I don't think we need to worry about this anymore." "That's true. You can leave. Let some news out and see how everyone reacts." "Yes, Mississippi." The old man slowly retreated. Although Rong City looked very stable now, the demons who had escaped back then would definitely not let go of the management rights of Rong City just like that. They were also waiting for an opportunity. Yichilua had many experts under her, but it was inevitable that those demons would come up with some ideas after a long time. At that time, someone would take advantage of them. Moreover, there was a person like Li Yuanqing in Ping City. If the legendary sword immortal really existed, it means that there would be an extremely powerful expert. If they could join forces, it would naturally be beneficial to Rong City. Li Yuanqing was naturally unaware of everything that had happened in Rong City. He was busy finding his goal. The demons in the river were all very impulsive. They were born with such recklessness. They sensed Li Yuanqing's aura and came up to cause trouble without any hesitation. Although Li Yuanqing did not deliberately search for it, he had gathered a lot of demon beast materials in the past few days. What troubled Li Yuanqing was that the waters of the river were so huge. It was really not easy to find traces of those grass carp here. Fortunately, the expedition team had left some methods for him to identify the traces of grass carp activity when they left. At least he had found some traces now. Master, are those grass carp you're looking for? During the time he was with the expedition team, Li Yuanqing did not release the man-eating vine. However, the man-eating vine had been playing happily these few days. She followed Li Yuanqing and kept stirring in the river, devouring many demon beasts. The man-eating vine's stomach had been round for the past 2 days, and the energy on her body was fluctuating, as if she was about to break through again. The man-eating vine already had the strength of a peak 5th-grade spirit transformation realm cultivator. If it took another step forward, her strength would rise to a new level. As the man-eating vine spoke, a vine suddenly retracted from under her feet. There was a twisting fish tied to the vine. This fish's waist was very tough. Even though it was tied up tightly, it was still swaying around. It looked really tough. Li Yuanqing happily took the grass carp. After searching for so many days, he had finally found them. That's right. After we capture them, I'll bring them all into the domain. Capture as many as you can. All right, I'll go now. As the man-eating vine spoke, she plunged into the river excitedly. She was not afraid at all. She had had her fill of the demon beasts hiding in the river for the past 2 days. Not far below, a school of grass carp had gathered and were swimming downstream. However, at this moment, countless vines suddenly appeared in their school. The vines kept twisting and stirring. They did not do it at once. They would stir up a lot of grass carp in the school of grass carp and stuff them into Li Yuanqing's domain. The huge lake that connected to the center of the domain could not be seen. Tens of thousands of grass carp were placed in the lake, but they only rejoiced for a while and did not cause much waves. Li Yuanqing drew a boundary for them. In order to prevent these big demon beasts from eating the little fellows miserably, he divided them into districts. In the middle, he used special materials to isolate them so that they could reproduce and live here. Although he had been busy here for a while, he had gained a lot. Not only did he obtain the fresh and delicious carp, but he also obtained the familiar grass carp. In the future, when he had nothing to do, he would always be able to set up a grill by the lake and roast 2 fish to eat, enjoying the delicacies that only existed in the previous world. Moreover, Li Yuanqing had also found many spice seeds from the merchants in Sea City and planted them at the side. These spices were still young seedlings. When they grew up, they would spread new seeds. At that time, they would grow into an endless number of seeds. He carefully nourished them with nutrient fluids every day. Although these things could not absorb spiritual energy, they grew much more fiercely on the spirit vein. Now, Li Yuanqing's domain had a snow mountain that stood tall. Under the sunlight, it emitted a crystalline light, like a lighthouse in the world of the spirit domain. At the foot of the snow mountain was a vast forest. Countless demon beasts were galloping in the forest. These demon beasts lived happily. Past the forest, there was a vast lake. Occasionally, there were some animals drinking water with their heads lowered. The flesh of these animals was very firm and agile. Across the vast lake was another forest and a very vast grassland that covered the large land. This wide domain brought Li Yuanqing a lot of joy. When Li Yuanqing had nothing to do, he liked to ride his horse in his domain. This fresh energy made him glow. Every time this happened, the man-eating vine would transform into its true form and spread out in the soil, following Li Yuanqing's footsteps. One of them was on the ground while the other was under the ground, vaguely competing. Young master, I'm going to surpass you. The man-eating vine exerted all her strength and rushed in front of Li Yuanqing proudly. However, just as she finished speaking, she suddenly felt her body become light. Li Yuanqing had pulled her huge body out of the ground. Her huge vines were hanging in the sky, but it did not slow her down at all. Young master, you're becoming more and more proficient in the traction technique. The man-eating vine floated in midair. She had not felt anything just now. After Li Yuanqing's traction technique became more and more proficient, the power he controlled had become even gentler. He could often control people silently. This kind of silent control method was even more impossible to guard against. This was the power of the traction technique. In the past, when he had just mastered it, the power of control was too domineering. It was easy for her to break free before the entire power network was formed. Therefore, he could only use it on targets who had much lower strengths. However, when he reached a very deep level, the scope of the traction technique would increase greatly. Not only could he temporarily control the other party's whereabouts in a battle, but he could also cause a lot of trouble for the other party. He even controlled the other party's actions silently. According to Li Yuanqing's own estimation, if this traction technique was successfully refined, it could even be used on people stronger than him. At that time, it would be a very powerful spell. He did not expect to obtain such a powerful spell by chance. Li Yuanqing rode the horse to the lake and let the horse drink water and eat grass. He brought the man-eating vine and casually caught 2 grass carp and the very fertile yellow-skinned carp from the lake. The man-eating vine skillfully set up a small barbecue stall and started a fire below. She cleaned up the internal organs and impurities inside and weaved a grilling rack with branches in midair. Soon, the few fish were cleaned. Under the roasting of the small fire, the fish emitted a fragrance. The man-eating vine had finally mastered the essence of the grilled fish and was proficient in using spices. The vine spread out from the ground and came to the empty space on the other side. It picked some of the very lush spices and soon appeared in the hands of the man-eating vine. The spices were mixed with the fat that overflowed from the fish. Under the heat of the small fire, they emitted an alluring fragrance. The thick fragrance of oil spread out, making one drool. Little man, you're becoming more and more skilled at grilling fish. It's all because young master taught me well. I can only say that young master did a good job as a master. How did you learn to speak like little Jiao? Young master, if you say bad things about her behind her back, she won't be happy.